Let me show you one of the most common parasites in the world. Something that has infected millions of people across different countries. This is the tapeworm, a long, flat parasite that can live inside your intestines and grow quietly without causing immediate pain. In extreme cases, tapeworms can grow several meters long, stretching through your digestive system while you continue your daily routine. What makes them dangerous is not just their size, but the fact that they can remain almost completely unnoticed for a very long time. Every time you eat, the tapeworm absorbs nutrients directly from your food, meaning your body receives less than it should. To survive inside your body, the tapeworm uses specialized hook-like structures to attach itself tightly to your intestinal walls, making it extremely difficult to remove once it settles in. Once it is attached, it can remain inside your body for years, continuously feeding, growing slowly, and draining nutrients without causing immediate or obvious symptoms. Over time, this silent presence can lead to fatigue, weakness, and unexplained weight changes, all while the parasite continues to live unnoticed inside your body. But the real danger begins when certain parasites do not stay in your digestive system and instead begin to move through other parts of your body. Some parasites are capable of entering your bloodstream, using it as a pathway to travel deeper into your body and reach more critical organs. Imagine something leaving your stomach, entering your blood circulation, and slowly making its way toward your brain without you even feeling it. Some parasites can cross into your brain and begin forming small cysts that can remain hidden for years without producing clear symptoms. These cysts grow slowly over time, increasing pressure inside the brain while the infected person continues living normally without awareness. Eventually, as the pressure builds, symptoms begin to appear, often affecting movement, thinking, and overall mental clarity in serious ways. People infected may experience seizures, confusion, and memory problems, all caused by something physically living inside their brain. In more severe cases, hallucinations can occur, causing individuals to see or feel things that are not real due to the parasite interfering with brain signals. The most terrifying part is that many people never realize the true cause of these symptoms until the condition becomes extremely serious. By the time the parasite is discovered, it may have already caused permanent damage, making treatment more difficult and recovery uncertain. And this is only one example, because there are many other parasites that can live in completely unexpected parts of the human body. Some parasites live under the skin, creating visible movement and swelling that can be both physically uncomfortable and visually disturbing. Others enter through tiny openings in the body and begin developing inside, growing slowly in places you would never expect them to exist. Some parasites even target the eyes, living inside them and affecting vision in ways that are both rare and extremely unsettling to imagine. And in certain extreme cases, parasites can influence behavior, altering how a host acts in order to improve their own chances of survival. This means parasites are not just passive organisms, but active entities that can interact with your body in complex and disturbing ways. And what you have seen so far is only the beginning. Because some parasites do not just live inside you. They grow, move, and eventually emerge in horrifying ways. If you think parasites inside your stomach or brain are disturbing, what you are about to see next is even worse. Because these parasites live directly under your skin. There is a parasite that does not just live inside your body. It grows under your skin, creating visible movement that you can actually see. This parasite is known as the botfly larva, and it enters your body in a way that most people would never expect. Instead of directly landing on you, the botfly uses another insect, like a mosquito, to deliver its eggs onto your skin. When the mosquito bites you, the heat of your skin triggers the eggs to hatch, and the larvae immediately begin entering your body. Once inside, the larva begins to grow beneath your skin, feeding on tissue while remaining hidden except for a small breathing hole. That small hole on your skin is not random. It is actually how the parasite breathes while living inside your body. As the larva grows, the bump on your skin becomes more noticeable, and you might even feel movement inside your own body. Some people describe the feeling as something crawling or shifting under their skin, which can be both painful and extremely unsettling. And in some cases, the parasite can grow large enough that its shape becomes clearly visible through the surface of the skin. Doctors often have to remove it slowly and carefully to ensure that the entire parasite comes out without leaving anything behind. But botflies are not the only parasites that can live under your skin. Because there are others that behave in even more disturbing ways. Some parasites do not stay in one place. They move continuously under your skin, leaving visible trails behind them. This condition is often described as something crawling under the skin, creating patterns that slowly shift over time. And unlike other parasites, these do not remain hidden. They actively travel across your body just beneath the surface. In some cases, multiple parasites can exist at the same time, creating several moving paths under the skin simultaneously. This can lead to intense itching, irritation, and a constant awareness that something is moving inside your own body. And just when you think it cannot get worse, there are parasites that do not just stay under your skin. They actually multiply inside you. These parasites can lay eggs inside the body, leading to the presence of multiple larvae growing at the same time. In certain extreme situations, this can result in large numbers of larvae developing in a single area, making the condition much more severe. The body may react with swelling, pain, and visible changes on the skin, signaling that something is clearly wrong. But even then, many people do not immediately realize that the cause is a living organism inside their body. And this delay in recognizing the problem can allow the parasites to continue growing and spreading further. Eventually, medical treatment becomes necessary to remove the parasites and prevent further damage to the body. But even after removal, the experience can leave both physical and psychological effects due to the disturbing nature of the infection. And what makes this even more unsettling is that these parasites are not rare in certain parts of the world. They exist in environments where humans and insects interact closely, increasing the chances of accidental infection. And in many cases, people do not even realize how or when they became infected in the first place. And what you have seen so far is still not the worst. Because some parasites do not just live inside your body. They can actually control how you think and behave. Removing it is not simple. Because if the parasite is damaged during extraction, it can cause serious infection inside the body. What if the most dangerous parasites are not the ones that damage your body directly, but the ones that can slowly influence how you think and behave over time? There is a parasite known to affect behavior, subtly changing how a host reacts to fear, risk, and decision-making without obvious control. This parasite is called toxoplasma. And while it often infects animals, it can also exist inside humans without clear or immediate warning signs. In animals, it has been observed to reduce fear responses, causing them to approach danger instead of avoiding it like they normally would. Instead of reacting cautiously, infected hosts may act more boldly, making unusual decisions that increase the parasite's chances of survival. Scientists believe this happens because the parasite interacts with brain chemistry, subtly affecting signals related to fear and reward. In humans, the effects are less obvious, but studies suggest possible links between infection and subtle shifts in behavior or personality patterns. This does not mean full control, but small influences that may shape how someone reacts to certain situations over long periods of time. Because these changes are subtle, most people would never realize that something inside them could be influencing their decisions at all. And this idea becomes even more unsettling when you realize that similar interactions between parasites and hosts exist throughout nature. Instead of focusing on small changes, what becomes more important is how these influences build over time, gradually shaping consistent behavior patterns. As these patterns repeat, they begin to feel natural, making it difficult to recognize that behavior may have been influenced from the start. Over longer periods, repeated actions can form habits, and habits can define how a person reacts to situations without conscious awareness. This means that influence is not about control, but about gradually guiding tendencies that shape decisions over time. When viewed this way, behavior becomes part of a larger system where internal and external factors interact continuously. Parasites are one of many factors that can exist within this system, interacting with biological processes in subtle but meaningful ways. This highlights how even small organisms can play a role in complex systems, influencing outcomes without direct or obvious control. And this interaction is not random, but often part of a larger biological strategy shaped through long periods of evolution. Over generations, these strategies become more refined, allowing parasites to survive more efficiently within their hosts. Instead of causing immediate harm, some parasites rely on balance, ensuring the host remains functional while they continue to survive. This balance allows the parasite to remain inside the host for longer periods, increasing the chances of survival and transmission. And in some cases, behavior itself becomes part of this process, helping the parasite move from one host to another. This turns the host into more than just a living space, but an active part of the parasite's life cycle. And when behavior becomes part of survival, the relationship between parasite and host becomes far more complex. This complexity is what makes parasites some of the most adaptive and successful organisms in nature. And it is this adaptability that allows them to survive in environments that would be impossible for many other organisms. From the outside, these processes may seem invisible, but they are constantly happening within biological systems, and this leads to a deeper understanding that behavior, biology, and survival are all connected in ways we are still discovering, because in nature, survival is rarely simple. And even the smallest organisms can play a role in shaping larger systems. And this is where the story becomes even more interesting, because some parasites rely entirely on behavior to complete their life cycle. These behaviors may seem normal from the outside, but they play a critical role in helping the parasite reach its next stage of development. In this system, the host becomes part of a process where actions and movement contribute directly to the parasite's survival and spread. Rather than harming the host immediately, the parasite benefits more from keeping the host active and able to interact with the environment. This balance allows the parasite to extend its lifespan inside the host while increasing opportunities for transmission. In some cases, movement patterns themselves are enough to bring the host into contact with the next stage of the parasite cycle. This means that behavior does not need to be controlled, only slightly guided to increase the chances of successful transmission. Over time, these small influences create reliable patterns that parasites can depend on as part of their survival strategy. This transforms the host from a passive environment into an active component of a larger biological system. And when multiple hosts are involved, the parasite's life cycle becomes a chain of interactions across different environments. Each stage of this cycle is carefully adapted, ensuring that the parasite can survive in changing conditions. And because these systems evolve over time, they become more efficient, reducing risk while maximizing survival opportunities. This level of adaptation is what makes parasites some of the most resilient organisms in nature. Even in unpredictable environments, they can continue their life cycle by relying on consistent behavioral patterns. And this ability to adapt across hosts and environments is what allows them to exist in so many different forms around the world. From insects to animals and even humans, parasites use similar strategies to ensure their survival continues. This shows that survival in nature is not just about strength, but about adaptability and efficient use of available systems. And in this case, behavior becomes one of the most effective tools a parasite can use to complete its life cycle. Which means that even simple actions can play a role in a much larger biological process that we rarely notice. And when you look at the full picture, it becomes clear that parasites are not just living inside hosts, but interacting with entire systems of life. Some parasites do not rely on chance, but instead depend on predictable behaviors to move between hosts and continue their life cycle. This means the human body is not completely isolated, but part of a larger biological system interacting with many unseen elements. And while most parasites do not cause serious harm, understanding how they exist helps reduce fear and improve awareness. Awareness allows us to recognize unusual signs early and respond appropriately before problems become more serious. The more we understand these systems, the more we can separate real risks from exaggerated fears, because not every parasite is dangerous, but some can have significant effects depending on where they exist inside the body. This is why context matters, as location, type, and duration all influence how a parasite affects its host. And in many cases, the body can adapt or respond in ways that limit the impact of these organisms. This interaction between host and parasite is part of a balance that exists across many biological systems in nature, and this balance is constantly changing, shaped by environment, behavior, and the adaptability of both organisms involved. From this perspective, parasites become part of a much larger story about how life adapts and survives under different conditions. And while some of these interactions may seem unsettling, they are also examples of how complex and adaptive nature can be. Understanding this complexity helps shift the focus from fear to curiosity and encourages deeper exploration of science and nature. Because often, the most surprising discoveries are not found far away, but within systems we interact with every day. The human body itself is one of the most complex environments, supporting processes that we are still learning to understand. And within this environment, interactions between organisms can happen in ways that are both subtle and fascinating. This is what makes studying these systems important, as it reveals connections that are not immediately visible. And the more we explore, the more we realize how much there is still to learn about the world and ourselves. Because sometimes, the most unexpected stories are happening in places we cannot see, shaping systems in ways we do not notice. If you enjoy discovering how the unseen world works, stay curious and continue exploring, because there is always more to learn. When you look at the full system, parasites are not just organisms, but part of complex interactions that exist within living environments.